How you do anything is how you do everything, and if you want to win, you have to treat every action like it matters. That's the standard. That's the mindset. This is not just another talk about success. This is about how to win at everything you do, not sometimes, not when it's easy, every single time. Most people lose not because they're not smart, but because they let comfort lead the way. They delay, they doubt themselves, they wait for motivation, and slowly they start believing that average is normal. But the truth is, your life changes the moment you stop playing small, the moment you stop listening to the noise, the moment you start showing up with intention every day, even when it's hard. This is your wake-up call. In this video, you'll learn how to build a mindset that wins. Take action before excuses take over and become the kind of person who finishes what they start. No hype. Just the truth you need to finally take control of your life. Chapter 1. Choose progress when your mind wants comfort instead. You want to win. You want results. You want success in everything you do. But here's the truth. Most people don't win, not because they're not capable, but because they choose comfort instead of progress. And the moment you keep choosing comfort, your life stops growing, your progress dies a slow death. That's the deal. That's the exchange you're making. Every time you choose comfort, you lose progress. Progress demands effort. It doesn't feel easy, it doesn't feel natural, it doesn't show up when you're in the mood. Progress isn't about feeling good, it's about choosing to do what works, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's when it counts. You have a mind that wants to keep you safe. It wants to protect you from anything uncertain, uncomfortable, unfamiliar. It will come up with reasons to delay, to avoid, to retreat. It will tell you, do it later. You're tired. It's not urgent. You've done enough. That's your comfort talking. That's the enemy of progress. And if you don't learn to ignore it, to shut it down, you'll live your whole life in the same place, with the same excuses, the same limits, the same pain. Progress isn't about taking huge steps every day. It's about taking the right steps, even when they feel small. It's about waking up early when you feel like staying in bed. It's about pushing through when you don't feel like it. It's about keeping promises to yourself when no one else is watching. That's how you grow. That's how you win. You don't win once. You win every day you choose progress over comfort. Most people want the results without the discomfort. They want the rewards without the effort. They want the praise without the discipline. But you can't have it both ways. You either pay the price for progress or you pay the price for staying the same. One leads to strength, the other leads to regret. And the worst kind of pain is the pain of knowing you could have done more but didn't. So ask yourself, what do I really want? Do I want the temporary relief that comes from giving up? Or do I want the deep, lasting pride that comes from pushing through? Winning is not luck. Winning is not talent. Winning is not timing. Winning is a decision. It's a decision to keep going when you feel like quitting. It's a decision to get uncomfortable again and again and again. Always. It may be hard and suck. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up. There will be mornings when you're tired, stressed, and disconnected. Your mind will offer you comfort like a soft bed on a cold morning. And that's the moment where your decision matters the most. That's the test. Will you fold or will you move? The winners in life aren't smarter than you. They don't have some secret advantage. They just make better decisions when it's uncomfortable. They keep showing up when it's boring. They keep trying when it's frustrating. They choose growth when it feels easier to stay still. See, The key to progress is consistency, not intensity. Anyone can show up once in a while when they're excited, but the people who win, they show up even when they're drained. They don't wait for inspiration. They create it by doing. Progress rewards discipline, not emotion. It respects action, not excuses. It listens to results, not feelings. Your future is built in the moments you feel like quitting but choose to stay in the game. That's where the growth happens. That's where your strength is formed. And every time you make that decision, you build self-respect. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to believe that you can handle more. You begin to become the kind of person who wins, not just once, but over and over. Comfort will always be there. It'll always offer you a way out. It'll always try to talk you into slowing down, playing it safe, doing it later. And comfort sounds convincing when you're tired, when you're doubting, when you're overwhelmed. But comfort never leads to power. It never builds character. It never gives you the life you want. It just keeps you average. And average is not where you're meant to be. Progress is messy, it's tiring, it's slow, but it's real, and every step you take, even when it doesn't feel like much, adds up. That early morning workout, that extra hour of study, that honest conversation, that refusal to give up, those are the things that shape your future. Not big talk, not empty promises, real effort, real actions, repeated daily. When you live in comfort, you miss the challenge, and without challenge, you never grow. If you want to win, get used to being uncomfortable. Get used to pushing through resistance. Get used to doing what's necessary instead of what's easy. That's how strong people are built. That's how confidence is built. You earn it. You earn it by doing the work when it's hard. You earn it by becoming the kind of person who doesn't quit on themselves. This is about self-respect. When you choose progress over comfort, you're not just moving forward, you're proving to yourself that you're capable, reliable, strong. That's the foundation of success, that belief in yourself, built brick by brick through action. And one day you'll look back and realize that all those little moments, all those uncomfortable decisions added up to a life you're proud of. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the hard work for you, and no one owes you anything. That's the truth. So take control. Decide that your life is worth the fight. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for things to feel right. Take action now, right here, right where you are, because every second you delay, comfort is gaining ground. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to pull away. You already know what needs to be done. Deep down, you know what you've been avoiding. You know where you've been playing small. You know the areas of your life that need work. The question is, will you do it? Will you choose progress when your mind wants comfort? Will you act in spite of fear, doubt, and resistance? Winners don't wait to feel ready. They act when it's hard. They keep going when the mood disappears. They're not driven by what feels good. They're driven by what produces growth. That's the mindset you need. That's the standard you build. That's how you start winning. So today, when your mind offers you the easy way out, say no. Say no to the comfort that weakens you. Say no to the delay that costs you years. Say no to the habit of quitting before it gets good. And say yes to progress. Yes to action. Yes to becoming the kind of person who wins, not just sometimes, but always. Remember this, it's not supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be worth it, and it is. When you do what's hard now, life gets easier later, but if you keep doing what's easy now, life will only get harder. So make the right trade. Every day, progress over comfort, growth over fear, effort over excuses. That's how you win at everything you do. Chapter 2. Control your emotions before they control your choices. You can have all the goals, plans, and talents in the world, but if you don't learn how to manage your emotions, you'll keep making choices that hurt your progress. That's the truth. When your emotions are in charge, logic disappears, discipline weakens, and instead of doing what's right, you start doing what feels good in the moment. And what feels good isn't always what's good for your future. Think about it. How many people lose opportunities because they speak out of anger? How many people walk away from something good just because they felt insecure for 5 minutes? How many people ruin a relationship, quit a job, waste a whole day just because they didn't pause, didn't breathe, didn't slow down when their emotions got loud? That's not life happening to them. That's them letting their emotions run their life. And if you don't learn to stay calm in the middle of chaos, you'll keep reacting instead of responding. You'll make fast choices that lead to long-term regret. You can't win if you keep letting emotions lead your decisions. Winning starts with staying in control. And control isn't about being emotionless. It's about knowing what to do with what you feel. It's about having enough strength to pause before you respond. It's about being aware of how your emotions influence your behavior, and then choosing your actions based on values, not moods. Most people never stop to think about how their emotions are shaping their day. They feel stressed and snap at someone. They feel tired and skip the gym. They feel hurt and shut everyone out. They feel anxious and give up halfway. Then they wonder why things aren't changing. But here's what they miss. Emotions are temporary, but choices have consequences. If you keep reacting from emotion, you'll keep repeating patterns that trap you. The key is to catch yourself. Pay attention to what's going on inside before it shows up in your behavior. When you feel pressure, don't let it push you. When you feel fear, don't let it freeze you. When you feel anger, don't let it speak for you. The strongest people are not the ones who never feel anything. They're the ones who feel everything and still stay grounded. That's the real strength. You've got to become the kind of person who can sit with discomfort without trying to escape it. When frustration builds, learn to breathe through it. When you feel emotional, delay your response. Wait until you can think clearly again. Waiting doesn't mean weakness, it means wisdom. You're protecting your future from being damaged by a temporary emotion. Winning also means you've got to stop letting your emotions control your habits. Some people only work when they feel motivated. Some only eat clean when they feel guilty. Some only push forward when they're excited. That's a weak system. You can't build a winning life on emotional triggers. You need structure. You need rules you follow no matter how you feel. You need to be able to say, "This is what I said I'd do, and I'm doing it, whether I feel like it or not." Emotions will lie to you. They'll tell you you're not good enough. They'll tell you you're too tired. They'll tell you it's okay to quit. But you've got to stop taking emotional thoughts as facts. Not everything you feel deserves a reaction. Some emotions just need to be seen, understood, and left alone. The more you observe them without obeying them, the more power you get back. And with that power you can make better choices. Choices that lead to growth. So, you've probably noticed something. When your emotions take over, it's not just one part of your life that suffers. It spreads. You yell at someone, now there's tension all day. You skip your workout, now your energy is off. You stay in bed too long, now your momentum is gone. One emotional decision can affect your entire rhythm. And rhythm is everything. To win, you need rhythm. You need flow, You need to stay sharp. And that means you have to train yourself, not once, every day. When you feel triggered, use it as a test. Instead of reacting, ask yourself, what's the right thing to do right now? Not the easy thing, not the emotional thing, the right thing. That habit of slowing down, of thinking before you act, that's how you build real control. Self-betrayal isn't a talent, it's a skill. You practice it by choosing a better response every single time you get the chance. At first, it's hard. Your emotions will push back. They'll want the final word. But if you keep choosing calm over chaos, reason over reaction, growth over drama, you start rewiring the way you respond to life. You stop being a slave to feelings and start becoming a leader of your own behavior. You also have to learn the difference between what you feel and what's real. Your emotions are signals, not commands. Just because you feel anxious doesn't mean something's wrong. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you should stop. Just because you feel irritated doesn't mean someone's against you. Emotions are often just noise. And if you don't filter that noise, it becomes your reality. The goal is to build emotional awareness, to know what you're feeling and why. When you can name your emotion, you weaken its control over you. When you can trace the root of it, you start healing instead of hiding. Most people avoid their emotions. They numb them with distractions or dump them on other people. But you're not most people. You're here to win. And winning means owning your emotions, not being owned by them. When you build emotional control, you also build better relationships. You stop overreacting. You stop making everything personal. You stop creating drama where there isn't any. You become someone people can trust. Someone who doesn't explode, who listens, who speaks with clarity. That's how you earn respect. That's how you lead. That's how you move through the world with calm strength. Now here's something important. Emotional control doesn't mean you never feel anything. It means you choose what you give power to. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to talk, talk. But don't let emotions make decisions for you. Don't let them decide your work ethic. Don't let them decide how you treat people. Don't let them decide whether you show up or disappear. You decide. You lead. You own it. Some days, your emotions will feel stronger than your logic. You'll want to lash out. You'll want to quit. You'll want to disappear. That's when you remind yourself, feelings pass, but your actions stay. What you do now builds your future. So breathe. Think. Stay calm. Then act with purpose. To win, you need peace of mind. You need to feel grounded. Emotional chaos makes everything harder. Your focus drops, your performance slips, your relationships suffer. But emotional control creates space. Space to think, to plan, to grow. That's the space you need to keep moving forward. Your future depends on what you do when your emotions try to take over. Your life is shaped by how you respond to pressure, disappointment, failure, frustration. Every day you're being tested, not by the world, but by your own emotional habits. And every time you choose strength over reaction, you're getting better. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't just chase goals, you become the kind of person who finishes them. So if you want to win in your work, your health, your relationships, your mind, start here. Start by paying attention to what you feel, and then choose what you do next with intention. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be in control. And the more control you build, the more power you have to shape your life the way you want it to be. Chapter 3. Act fast before self-doubt talks you out of it. The longer you wait, the more power self-doubt has. That's how it works. The moment you hesitate, even for a second, the voice of fear creeps in. It starts quiet. Then it gets louder. It starts small. Then it grows into a wall that blocks you from moving forward. Self-doubt doesn't show up when you're doing nothing. It shows up the moment you're about to do something meaningful. And if you don't act fast, it will talk you out of it every time. You've probably had moments where you were about to take a step, but you paused. You thought about what could go wrong. You thought about who might judge you. You thought about whether you were good enough. And in that space between the decision and the action, you gave self-doubt time to build its case. You ended up doing nothing. You backed out. You delayed. And then later you felt regret. That regret didn't come from failure. It came from not trying. People don't fail because they take action. They fail because they let hesitation replace movement. They fail because they think too long instead of doing. Action is the only thing that kills doubt. Once you take the step, the fear fades. The thoughts settle. The noise weakens. But if you stay still, those thoughts take over. They start controlling your decisions. They start shaping your identity. And soon you start believing that you're not capable. Winning isn't about being fearless. It's about moving before fear convinces you to stay still. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to act. That one step, that one movement, is what makes the difference. Because self-doubt feeds on your silence. It grows when you sit with it too long, but it dies when you move. Think about the goals you've had in your mind for a while, the things you keep telling yourself you'll do. Why haven't you done them? It's not because you're not capable. It's not because you don't have time. It's because you've given self-doubt a seat at the table. And once you let that voice speak, it doesn't shut up. It starts to create reasons, excuses, fears. And the more you listen, the smaller you start to feel. You have to break the cycle. And the way you break it is simple. Act before the voice of doubt gets loud. The moment you feel an idea rise up, do something about it. Write it down. Make the call. Start the task. Begin the thing. Don't wait until you're confident. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. Confidence is something you earn by doing. It doesn't show up on its own. You build it with movement, repetition, momentum. Most people overthink every decision. They worry about every detail. They try to predict every outcome. But life doesn't reward the overthinker. It rewards the person who starts. The person who begins when things are messy. The person who moves forward even with doubts in their head. The person who acts without having all the answers. You can't win if you keep giving your energy to fear. You can't grow if you keep asking for perfect conditions. You can't change your life if you keep delaying the actions that would change it. You have to move before your comfort zone traps you. You have to break your own patterns. You have to build the habit of acting fast, even if your hands are shaking, even if your heart is racing, even if your mind is unsure. Action is the cure to overthinking. It's the way out of fear. It's the only thing that proves to your brain that you're serious. You want to feel powerful. Do the thing you've been avoiding. You want to feel proud. Take the step you've been putting off. You want to feel progress. Move now, not later. That's where it starts. The problem is, most people wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect mood. But self-doubt doesn't wait. It strikes fast. That's why you have to act faster. You have to build urgency inside yourself. You have to get into the habit of doing before thinking too much. Of trusting your gut before fear starts rewriting the story. Because if you give that doubt even a few seconds, it will start asking questions you're not ready to answer. And by the time you find the answer, the moment is gone. If you want to build a life that feels strong, that feels forward-moving, you have to become someone who acts. Not just talks, not just plans, but acts. Quickly,
decisively, regularly. You have to move even when you don't know the outcome. You have to risk being wrong, because the people who win in life are not the ones who wait for the green light. They're the ones who go, even when the light is yellow. They understand that speed matters, that hesitation costs time, energy, confidence, and opportunity. You're not stuck. You're just overthinking. You're not lost. You're just waiting too long to move. The answers are on the other side of action. And the more you act, the more clarity you get. The more confidence you build, the more momentum you feel. Self-doubt hates momentum. It can't survive when you're in motion. It needs you to be still. That's when it's strongest, when you're paused. Think about this. How many things in your life would be different right now if you acted quicker? If you made that call? If you started that habit? If you walked into that opportunity without overanalyzing it? If you spoke up when it mattered? If you tried instead of waiting? That's not just lost time. That's lost growth. And the only way to stop that pattern is to break it right now. Make it a rule for yourself. The moment you feel resistance, that's when you move. Not later. Not tomorrow. Right then. That moment. You don't negotiate with self-doubt. You act before it gets a word in. You take back control by taking action. You don't wait for the fear to pass. You walk through it. You do it scared. You do it unsure. But you do it. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes who you are. Not someone who waits, but someone who moves. Not someone who needs permission, but someone who creates results. Not someone who backs down, but someone who leans in. That's how winning is done. Not by thinking about it, but by doing something while others are still deciding. Start now. Start messy. Start uncomfortable. Start small if you have to. But start. Because once you begin, you weaken the grip of fear. You take the power away from doubt. And you prove to yourself, again and again, that you are not a slave to hesitation. You are a builder, a doer, a finisher. And that kind of person wins not just once but over and over again. Chapter 4. Show up daily even when you feel nothing inside. There will be days when you wake up and you don't feel anything. No motivation, no energy, no drive, just silence inside. No reason to move forward, no inspiration pushing you, no spark to light the fire. And those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the people who talk about discipline from the ones who actually live it. Anybody can show up when everything feels right, when they're excited, when the mood is strong, when the fire is burning. But what do you do when the fire goes out? When your mind feels flat, your heart feels tired, and your spirit feels quiet? You show up anyway. Success doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most consistent. The ones who show up, no matter how they feel. The ones who understand that feelings are not facts, and energy is not a requirement. You don't need to be in the mood to do the work. You don't need to feel inspired to stay committed. You just need to show up. Again and again, especially when nothing inside you feels like showing up. Life isn't fair. It's not always going to give you the energy you want. It's not going to hand you inspiration when you're down. Sometimes it gives you silence. Sometimes it gives you emptiness. And in those moments, you either wait for a feeling that may never come, or you move without it. That's how discipline is built. That's how internal strength is formed. That's how you earn results. You show up on the empty days, on the dull days, on the low days. That's where the shift happens. It's easy to work when you feel driven, but discipline means working when there's no drive at all. Discipline means you still stick to your routine, even when your thoughts are heavy and your body feels slow. It means honoring your word when you feel numb inside. It means choosing action over escape, even when escape feels more comfortable. You can't wait for your emotions to catch up. You have to act without them. Because those emotions, they're temporary, but your actions, they leave a mark. The way you show up today is part of who you become tomorrow. The way you behave when no one sees you, when nothing pushes you, that's the version of you that builds something lasting. You might not feel proud every day. You might not feel confident. You might not feel strong. But if you keep showing up, those feelings start to come back. They return because of your consistency. They return because of your follow-through. You don't chase them, you lead them. You lead your mind by proving it wrong every time it tells you to stop. And here's the truth. Nobody else is responsible for pulling you out of that low place. Nobody's coming to hand you motivation. That's your job. And your best tool is action. It doesn't have to be big. You don't need to do everything. Just something. A small step. A single task. That's how you begin to break through the fog. You don't need a full tank to take the first step. Just enough to move. Just enough to show yourself that even on your worst days, you still have the ability to act. You still have the strength to keep going. That's what builds belief. Not your best days, but your hardest ones. Those silent mornings where everything feels off. That's where the winners are made. When your thoughts feel cloudy, and your emotions are shut down, and yet you still lace up. You still sit down to work. You still honor your word. That's powerful. That's self-respect. That's emotional maturity. Most people fold when they feel nothing. They stay in bed. They scroll their phone. They say, "Not today." And every time they do, they teach their brain to quit when things get quiet. They make comfort the default. They build the habit of running when life stops pushing them. And over time, they forget how to move without external pressure. But the ones who win, they don't rely on pressure. They rely on values. They move because they've trained themselves to do it. They've tied their identity to consistency. They don't say, "I don't feel like it today." They say, "This is what I do, and I do it anyway." You have to get to that place. That mental place where your behavior is no longer tied to your emotions, where your plans are stronger than your feelings, where your system is stronger than your excuses, where your word means more to you than how you feel in the moment. That's when everything starts to change. When you stop needing the mood to be right. When you stop chasing good days. When you stop waiting for everything to feel okay before you move. And instead you move no matter what. The truth is, your most important work often comes on the days when you don't feel ready. The breakthrough happens when you choose discipline in the middle of emptiness.